Hi Year 5, I'm back with chapter 12 today. Okay, so the last chapter ended quite suddenly, didn't it? It was Pearl had rung back, and actually it was Beckett's dad that picked up the phone. Important information for Snoop. Pearl is our Eden flat number. Dad does not want Pearl to have our Eden flat phone number. Notes about how Pearl got our phone number. A robotic hand was the culprit. Billy and I were almost entirely innocent. I suspect Dad will not believe this if he asks me how it happened. Although, judging by the way Dad is whispering, I do not think he wants us to know he's on the phone to Pearl. Snoop has worked out that Pearl must have seen a strange number come up on her phone and rung it straight back and connected with Dad. More important information. Why did Dad tell Abitha Nana that he had made a mess of things with Pearl? Does this mean he was going out with Camille before he left Pearl and we all ran away because of it? I've seen this sort of problem mentioned on daytime TV shows where everyone has bad teeth and they always pull their chairs apart before saying they're stuck in love triangles. I'm not 100% sure what a love triangle is, but it seems to involve at least 3 people who are all very cross. Concerns. Too many to mention, but the main one being that Billy has just broken my bed springs. When I tell him this, he says he can't stop now because he's showing Brian how to relax. I say Brian's always relaxed, and Billy says I don't know Brian at all. With all this new information to digest, I sit on Billy's bed and rub my chin in the manner of a spy trying to solve a puzzle. Nothing about Dad and Pearl is making any sense to me. 20 minutes later, when I'm still trying to figure things out, Dad comes into our bedroom and says Abitha Nana was asking how we were both keeping. I pause, waiting for him to say that Pearl rang too, but he doesn't. Instead, Dad rubs his eyes and says it's getting late and we should both get ready for bed. Then he asks why Billy is sweating like a long-haired guinea pig in a sauna, and Billy says he's been exercising. Good-o, says Dad, kissing him on the forehead and then wiping the sweat from his lips. When Dad kisses me, I blurt out that I know all about love triangles. Startled, Dad says, well, you can just forget about those because you're 11 and the only triangles you need to worry about are in your maths. It seems Dad has cut my conversation down with a great big axe before it even began. When Dad leaves the room, I tell Billy I'm sleeping in his bed tonight because I don't want a broken spring in my spine. No way, shouts Billy and adds, what's yours is mine and what's mine is my own. Then he jumps into his own bed and goes straight to sleep. Apparently, all that jumping's worn him out. As Billy lets out a little snore, I pad over to the window, pull back the curtain and stare out across the rooftops of Eden again. Each one looks like it's been dipped in silver oil and soft clouds like ghostly galleons sail across the sky. The star I picked out for Mum's still glistening. I want to say goodbye properly so much, but the words are all tangled up in my throat, like Abitha Nana's knitting wool after Billy's been pretending it's a wig. My eyes begin to go so blurry from rogue tears that it's hard to see properly, and all I can do is mumble Mum over and over again. But the star above me, it keeps on shining, and even when I shut my eyes and let the tears spill like tiny rivers, it feels as though the star throws a veil of light on my sodden face. After 5 minutes of silent sobbing and thinking that if love could bring back someone who has died, then Mum would be right here in the room behind me, whispering in my ear how much she loved me, I turn to go back to bed. That's when it happens. A paper crane spirals to the floor right beside me. Ooh, just got goosebumps. The paper crane must be magical, I decide. It's definitely not one of my efforts because it's been folded perfectly. It's not the original crane either. That one's still on my desk. No, this is like something a magician would do. Abracadabra, open his hat and pull out one rabbit and then a second identical rabbit would follow. I bring it to school with me on Monday because I can't bear to leave it at home. For ages I stare at it under the table, not stopping even when Mr. Beagle tells us to get out some paper and begin drawing our garden designs. You've had time to consider it. You've been to a garden centre. Now is the time for action, Mr. Beagle continues. And Beckett, can you stop staring at the crotch of your trousers, please? There's a ripple of laughter as I snap my head upwards and nearly give myself whiplash. When the hysteria dies down, everyone gets out some paper and starts writing and drawing ideas for poop. Neva nudges me with the point of a set square from her next door desk, and when I glance up, she holds up her sheet of paper on which she's drawn a load of butterflies. She gives me the thumbs up and points to my bracelet. I give her the thumbs down and point to my bracelet. I lean over and say bracelets are a girl thing. No way, hisses Neva. Not this one. Boys need good things to happen to them too. That's why you've got it on your wrist. She reaches across the desk and tries to grab my hand, only I pull away. Seriously, remember what I said. My sister came back and she was a butterfly, and afterwards I felt really happy and it was an amazing thing. So now I'm spreading that amazing thing about. You just don't believe in good things, maybe because bad things have happened in the past, but you mark my words, Beckett Rumsey, I can feel something important's going to happen to you. What happened with your sister? I ask. She came back as a butterfly, I told you, explains Neva. It was as if magic happened when I least expected it. One day a butterfly just landed on me. Oh, I think you'll know there's a logical explanation, but there wasn't. Yes, I do think there's a logical explanation, because butterflies land on people sometimes. The thing is, the butterfly stayed on me for ages. When it eventually flew away, I went straight home and looked up butterflies on the computer, and it said that they were the symbol of a soul, explains Neva. It made me think about how I'd been sad about my sister for ages, but I felt happy after seeing the butterfly because it was her. It was as if the time was right to move forward. Knuckles turns around and tells Neva something weird happened to him too only a few days ago. This snail flew down from the sky and landed on my head, he hisses. See, says Neva, magic's all around us. I have to bite my cheek really hard not to laugh. But then I figure it's no laughing matter because a strange paper bird did exactly the same to me. Mr. Beagle bellows that a classroom is not the place for chatting and we're to finish up on poop because it's time for lunch. With that, the bell pops, and I don't know what else Mr. Beagle's trying to say because the entire class are vaulting desks to escape. The last thing I hear from our teacher is, Eden Echo! But no one cares. I'm standing by the wall in the playground near the water fountain, to be precise, when Knuckles walks past with a tennis ball in his ham hands. Hey, I say, staring at his wrist. You got one of Neva's bracelets too? Knuckles throws the ball against the wall and then catches it. Quickly, I hold up my wrist to prove she's given me one as well. Knuckles stops and shrugs in a so what kind of way. He puts the ball in his pocket. I sort of like it, I mutter, twanging the rubber bracelet like a guitar string. Anyway, who wouldn't want a bit of magic in their life? If you could have a bit of magic happen, what would it be? I reach down and scratch my leg. My dad back, Knuckles says as I bob back up again. My eyes widen. I understand, I reply. I mean, I know what it's like when someone is passed on. I tilt my head, wanting to make conversation to prove that we're both similar. We've both lost someone. Knuckles smirks at me and pulls the ball from his pocket again. Passed on? You mean dead passed on? So that's what you meant by a better place. You really don't have a clue about me and my dad. And that's when Knuckles walks away, bouncing the ball up and down and then kicking it at a wall. Oh man, I'm even more confused about him than I was before. At 3:40, Billy and I are walking home from school when we spot Dad's van outside a bubblegum pink house. Not only is it very hard to miss the house, but it's also very hard to miss Dad's van due to the giant plastic cod on the roof. Why is Daddy here? Asks Billy, picking some mud out of his fingernails. He stops and stares up at the house, which has ivy strangling the walls and tiny windows that look like the top of one of Abitha Nana's lattice pies. I don't know, maybe he's delivering fish, I explain, grimacing. A nanosecond of thought tells me he isn't actually delivering fish because Dad doesn't deliver to houses, only restaurants. I hoist my school bag up onto my shoulder and stare at the house as if I half expect it to provide some answers. It doesn't. We could go and knock on the door, Billy offers. To reinforce this idea, he knocks on my head with his knuckles, and then I knock on his, but it sounds hollow. Then we'd know why Daddy's in here, says Billy, ducking away from me. What if Dad doesn't want us to know he's here? Billy hadn't thought of that, but I just have. What if this is Camille's house? My eyes widen in the words hula hoop inside my head. What if this is Camille's house? What if we're not supposed to know Dad's here? Before I can say anything more, Billy takes off like a greyhound, dashes through the gate, and then throws himself onto the grass like a splattered octopus. I shout the first thing that comes to my head. Get out of there, you idiot! Then I shout the second thing that comes into my head. Before you get caught! Billy isn't budging. He says this is where he's going to wait until Dad comes out the front door. Well, I'm not taking this line down, even if Billy is. I march right over to him and try to drag him away by the arm. Unfortunately, Billy's managed to pull off the best trick ever, and that is to assume the weight of a baby hippopotamus instead of my baby brother. As I give one final tug on Billy's arm, he yanks me down until I'm sprawled beside him. The door opens. The door closes. A woman with long brown hair appears on the pathway beside us, wearing a dark blue coat and red polka dot scarf. The look on her face when she spots us is priceless. At this point, Billy's chin is balanced on the earth and he has a mouthful of grass clenched between his teeth. When the woman bends over and asks what we think we're doing, Billy mumbles that he's cutting the grass. What, with your teeth? Quizzes the woman. Donkeys do, says Billy triumphantly. Donkeys do, I hiss as we walk towards home. Man alive, why did you say that? She must have thought we were stupid, or at least you were. Billy just shrugs and says it's a shame we didn't see Daddy before we had to go. I say it was probably the best option, as the lady was going to ring the police. As we turn into our road, I realise this isn't a love triangle anymore. No, this is a love pentagon. There's Dad, Pearl, Naked Man, Camille, and now the lady in the polka dot scarf who thinks we're human lawnmowers. Dad arrives home shortly after us and throws his white jacket over the sofa before tickling Billy and asking if he had a good day at school. Billy says he's forgotten what sort of a day he had, and Dad says that's okay because it's very easy to forget stuff. After Dad has ordered takeaway and we're sitting at the table, Billy blurts out, "Why were you at the pink house today, Daddy?" "What pink house?" Dad's head goes red as an embarrassed tomato and then he changes the subject. Obviously, Dad's right. It's very easy to forget stuff, especially when you don't want anyone to know what that stuff is. Okay, chapter 12 done, bit of a shorter one today. On to 13 tomorrow. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye.